Welcome to the deep dive. You know, it really feels like we're living in a world that's just increasingly obsessed with the external, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It's
Yeah.
everywhere you look, constant broadcasting.
Yeah, like every single goal, every bit of progress, heck, even just the idea of trying something new,
Hmm.
it almost feels like it has to be broadcast.
Yeah.
Put out there for everyone. Like there's this unspoken rule.
Right. If you didn't post it, did it even happen? That kind of vibe.
Exactly. We've sort of been conditioned, maybe subtly, to think success has to be loud, has to be visible. It needs an audience, applause, likes.
Some kind of public validation, yeah.
But what if? What if the most powerful stuff, the really impactful achievements, actually grow best in quiet, in private spaces, away from any spotlight?
That's the core question, isn't it?
It is. And our sources today, especially the thinking from Silence is Strength, Win Without Words, they really push back hard against that whole narrative.
They really do.
The big idea, the one that kind of sets the stage for our whole conversation today, it's simple, but honestly pretty radical. The most powerful move you'll ever make is the one nobody sees coming.
Wow. Just pause on that for a second.
Right. In this age of social media saturation, where everyone's pushing their brand, their progress, that statement feels almost rebellious.
It really does. It challenges that whole need for constant self-promotion.
Which makes you wonder, why do we feel that pressure? Why broadcast goals before they're real? Why seek proof from, let's be honest, often an indifferent audience?
It's a deep question. Have you ever felt that urge to share something maybe a bit too soon, just to get that validation?
Oh, for sure. I think most of us have. But the material we're diving into today, it offers a different path, a potentially much more powerful one.
Yeah, it's fascinating how this perspective just completely reorients how you think about growth, about real achievement.
Right.
The sources we have today, they're like a collection of insights.
Right.
The sources we have today, they're like a collection of insights pushing back against that noisy way of doing things.
Right.
So our mission, really, for this deep dive, is to pull out those key nuggets, to really understand the power of silence, the effectiveness of that consistent, unseen effort.
And that internal validation piece, that feels huge.
Exactly. Building strength from within. It's not about hiding or being a hermit, not at all. It's more strategic, building a solid foundation for success.
Mm-hmm.
And these ideas, they're really meant to guide you, the listener, towards something more focused, more intentional, maybe more effective, and honestly more fulfilling.
Cutting through all that noise.
Precisely.
Mm.
All the distractions that pull us off course.
Yeah.
So, yeah, let's unpack this powerful idea, winning in public by fighting and building in private.
Okay, let's do it. And to really get it, we have to start at the very beginning, the foundation. The source material, Silence is Strength, it doesn't just suggest this, it kind of slams it down right at the start.
It's pretty direct.
It says, close your mouth and get serious about your life. Just like that. No beating around the bush.
It's a command, almost.
It really is. It's not saying, hey, maybe talk less. It's saying, stop the chatter. Stop explaining yourself to people who aren't in the arena with you. It's about this deep internal shift.
Like a decision point.
Exactly. A decision you make in the quiet of your own mind, where you just decide, okay, enough. Enough of the fluff, the wasted time, the talking without doing. Enough pretending things are okay when they're clearly not.
That requires a huge mental shift, though.
Totally. It's moving away from looking outside yourself for validation. The source says you don't need permission, approval, applause. You stop asking for that.
And instead,
you start having this intense, honest conversation with yourself. And that internal decision, that's the pivot point. Why is that so critical?
Well, the source argues.
It argues that that decision, that quiet decision inside your own mind, is what changes everything. It's the difference between saying, I'll work hard, and actually, doing the work, the uncomfortable stuff.
Right. It contrasts that with the common trap. Most people spend more time talking about what they're going to do than doing it.
We see that all the time, the big pronouncements, the detailed plans shared online, but the actual building never quite happens.
Mm-hmm.
So think about it, listener. When was the last time you made a truly quiet decision about something significant in your life, completely free from needing to tell anyone or impress anyone? Just for you. How did that feel? What did that silence let you achieve?
And that leads right into why talking can actually be harmful to progress.
Mm-hmm.
Why is just talking about it often so, detrimental?
Yeah, what's the psychology there?
The source puts it bluntly. Talking is easy. Talking makes you feel like you've made progress even when you haven't.
Ah, the illusion of progress.
Exactly. It gives you that quick hit of confidence, but it doesn't give you results. It's like there's this psychological thing, right? Sometimes called effort justification or maybe goal contagion.
Okay.
When you say your goal out loud, especially if you get praised for it, your brain releases dopamine. It feels good.
Right, the reward.
But you get the reward just for the intention or for the praise, not for actually doing anything yet.
Ah, so it satisfies the brain too early.
Precisely. That immediate hit can actually undermine the motivation needed for the long, hard, often uncomfortable work. Why bother with the grind if you've already gotten the emotional payoff just for talking about it?
That's a sneaky trap.
It really is. And think about how modern platforms, social media, messaging apps, amplify this.
Oh, totally. It's easier than ever.
Easier than ever to feel productive by just posting an update, sharing a vision board, joining a group, but without the real sustained action behind it.
Just performing productivity.
Exactly. Performing versus producing. And the source argues real progress starts when you go quiet, when you decide to stop sharing everything and start fixing everything.
Stop sharing, start fixing. I like that.
It's not just about not announcing things. It's about actively choosing tangible actions.
Yeah.
Getting up earlier, cutting distractions ruthlessly, avoiding those time sucks.
Being really intentional with your time and energy.
Yes. Building a life that makes sense to you, internally, not one you constantly have to explain or justify externally. That quiet, intentional action. That's where the real building starts.
Okay, so if talking doesn't build, what does?
Well, it's that silent, consistent work.
Yeah.
The day in, day out stuff. Which brings us right to the daily application of this whole philosophy.
Right, so close your mouth is the big decision, the foundation, and the daily application is, well, it's the grind, isn't it?
Pretty much. The unglamorous part.
The source is super clear. Work quietly on your goals every single day. It doesn't sound exciting, it doesn't sound flashy, but it works.
No quick fixes there.
None. It's not about waiting for some lightning bolt of inspiration or motivation. It's about discipline. Just showing up day after day, whether you feel like it or not, whether anyone notices or not.
That's a direct challenge to how we usually think about progress, isn't it?
Absolutely. We think progress should feel exciting, or at least be celebrated. We keep looking for the magic answers, the hacks, the shortcuts.
Yeah, the overnight success myth.
Right. But the real answer, the one the source keeps coming back to, is almost boringly simple because it's hard to do consistently. It's be consistent when it's not exciting, keep showing up even when nobody's clapping.
Why is that boring work so hard for us, though? Why do we resist it?
Because it is boring sometimes, and it's not glamorous. It's choosing work over comfort. It's the 6 a.m. alarm when it's dark and cold. It's saying no to stuff. It's building that internal structure bit by bit.
And life rewards that consistency.
That's what the source says. Life doesn't reward people who work once in a while. It rewards those who put in the time even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's slow, even when it feels like nothing is happening.
Slow, steady, unseen.
So listener, think about a goal you have. Are you waiting for inspiration to hit? Or are you showing up with discipline? Even when it's tough, even when it feels like you're pushing a rock uphill in the dark.
And psychologically, that quiet, consistent effort, that's what builds real resilience, real self-trust. Well, the source points out, building anything meaningful takes time, it takes effort, it takes sacrifice, and yes, it will be lonely at times. The key is being okay with not being noticed for a while.
Which is so countercultural now with instant gratification everywhere.
Exactly. But when you put in those unseen hours, those quiet reps, eventually, the results do show up, and they end up speaking louder than anything you could have said.
So it's not just about proving something externally.
No, it's more about building authentic confidence internally, the kind that comes from showing up for yourself again and again. It's different from that brittle, fake confidence based on likes and praise.
That makes sense. It's earned, not just given.
Right. And the compounding effect is huge. The source uses this great example. 1 hour of focused effort every day is over 350 hours a year, enough to completely change your life.
Wow, 350 hours. That really adds up.
It does. It's not about massive leaps. It's about stacking those small disciplined choices, day after day, using your mornings, your evenings, those in-between moments when nobody's watching.
You're essentially proving to yourself you can keep your commitments.
Yes. You build self-efficacy. You rely on your own discipline, not external hype. It creates this internal system that carries you.
Which then frees you up from another trap.
Exactly. The constant need to prove yourself to everyone else.
Ah, yes, that. The endless performance. It's exhausting, isn't it? Just draining.
It's an energy black hole, like you said.
The source really nails it. Most people waste too much energy trying to be liked, trying to be understood, trying to be accepted.
And the hard truth.
None of that moves your life forward. It doesn't build your skills, your future. It just burns up your time, your focus, your energy.
So let's talk about that cycle of seeking permission.
Yeah, let's break that down. We feel like we need to explain ourselves, post updates, chase the likes, the comments.
Why do we do it? It feels good momentarily, right? That quick validation hit.
Totally. But what's the real cost over time? We slow ourselves down, our focus gets scattered.
And maybe worst of all,
We lose track of why we started in the first place. The goal shifts from actual growth to just being seen, performing.
yeah, the source says, when you care more about being seen than becoming better, you trade progress for performance. That's how people get stuck.
You see those loud talkers the source mentions, they look the part, talk the talk.
But nothing really changes.
Exactly, because the focus is on image, not growth. It's about looking like a winner, not doing the work to actually win.
So, a question for you, listener. Are you spending more energy trying to look productive or actually being productive in ways that matter to you?
That's a tough, honest question.
So if we need to break free from that proving cycle, what does doing what really matters actually look like?
Good question. What does it entail?
The source says it means cutting through the distractions, really getting serious about your time, and honestly, looking at your daily habits and asking, are these helping me get where I want to go?
And if the answer is no?
Then you change them. Now, not later. It requires serious clarity, intention, defining your own priorities.
And protecting them, right? Even if others don't get it.
Exactly. Having the guts to say no sometimes.
Yeah.
To the easy stuff, the popular stuff, because the things that move you forward, the hard things, they rarely come with instant praise.
They often require sacrifice now for a payoff later.
And choosing to act based on your internal standards, even without external support, that's where serious growth happens. You stop waiting for permission or applause.
You operate from your own standard.
Yes, and that is real strength. You free yourself from that energy drain of seeking approval. Are you willing to make those unseen sacrifices for yourself?
That's the challenge.
The source sums up the shift. When you stop proving, you free yourself. You start making decisions based on your own standard.
And this whole idea connects directly to building habits, doesn't it? Which apparently is best done in secret.
Pretty much. That's one of the most liberating parts, I think. Building habits in private.
The source insists building habits is personal. It's not for the camera, it's not for a crowd, it's for you. And here's the kicker. Announcing it too soon, it can kill the momentum.
Okay, why? What's the mechanism there?
It goes back to that dopamine hit we talked about.
Yeah.
The source explains as soon as they get that approval, the motivation fades because now it feels like they've already done something great when they haven't followed through on anything yet.
The premature reward again.
Exactly. You announce you're going to start waking up early, you get the likes, you can do it. So your brain goes, nice, we did it.
So when the alarm actually goes off at 5 a.m.,
The drive isn't there. The brain already got its treat. Why do the hard part now?
it makes so much sense when you put it that way.
The source gives simple examples. You don't need to announce that you've started waking up early, just wake up early. You don't need to tell people you're reading more books, just read. Focus on the action, not the announcement.
Just do the thing.
Yeah. Have you ever done that, listener? Started something with a big announcement, got all the initial praise, and then fizzled out. It might be this exact dynamic at play.
And the flip side of that, the benefit of keeping it private is huge.
Tell me more.
Well, when you do things in silence, you allow yourself room to, well, mess up, to adjust, without worrying about public judgment.
Less pressure.
Way less pressure. It makes the growth process more authentic, more resilient. You protect your energy. You avoid the trap of needing someone else to approve your growth.
And it builds that self-trust we mentioned earlier.
Deeply. Because you're proving to yourself you can stick with it. Independent of anyone else watching or validating you, you're not scared of looking silly if you slip up because it's just you in the process.
It fosters real confidence from the inside out.
Exactly. The kind that comes from showing up again and again. And that quiet discipline, it eventually becomes a part of you. It creates this internal structure, this scaffolding.
That carries you.
That carries you. You build the system, then the system supports you, even on tough days. It's an internal engine for progress.
And the ultimate payoff.
The store says, people will see the results later, but by then you won't care about showing off. You'll be too focused on your next goal. You've moved on.
Love that. And this quiet habit building, it naturally flows into how we deal with the outside world, right? Especially opinions and challenges.
Oh, absolutely. Because the moment you commit to this quiet path,
Yeah.
expect noise.
Yeah. Let's be real. People will react, and not always positively.
The source is blunt. The world is full of noise. People will always have something to say. Doubters, questioners, people who just don't get it.
And the key thing to remember,
It's not your job to convince them, period.
we really need to talk about that resistance. Not just internal resistance, but from people around you.
Can be subtle, can it?
Totally. Jokes about your new routine, comments like you're changing, maybe even advice that sounds helpful but is actually rooted in their fear, not your reality.
And if you're not careful,
You start adjusting, slowing down to make them comfortable, second-guessing yourself, looking for their approval again.
and boom, you lose momentum, as the source warns. You start watering down your effort to match their expectations.
Diluting your own focus, which is why the core truth is so liberating. You don't need to be understood by everyone. You need to be understood by yourself.
That really hits home.
So, listener, have you felt that? The pressure to justify your path, your choices, to people who aren't walking it with you, people who might not even be serious about their own goals.
And staying focused through that noise, it's really about protecting your mental energy, isn't it?
How so?
Every time you pause to argue, to defend yourself, to respond to criticism, you're taking time away from the real work.
You're losing ground just to win an argument that doesn't matter for your goal.
Exactly. Why are opinions so distracting? Because opinions don't build skill. Opinions don't put in the work. They don't do the reps for you.
Right. They didn't wake up early with you.
So why give them so much power? And often, the source suggests, it's projection anyway.
What do you mean?
Most people project their own fears, insecurities, and regrets when they see you doing something they never had the courage to do.
Wow. So the criticism might say more about them than about you.
Often, yes. Recognizing that protects your vision from getting clouded by their stuff. This quiet path might mean walking alone, at least for a while, but the payoff.
What is it?
The outside voices get quieter the more you stay committed. Your focus becomes stronger than their noise.
And that focus, that resilience, it also helps us face our own internal struggles, right?
Yeah.
Learning to handle them in silence, too.
Yes. This leads to maybe one of the toughest but most transformative parts. Facing struggles initially alone.
The source says, there's something powerful about facing your hardest moments without reaching for someone else to carry the weight for you.
That sounds hard.
It is. But the argument is that real growth happens when you learn to walk through the pain, not just run from it or get someone else to fix it immediately. Many of life's biggest lessons, it claims, won't come from books or advice. They'll come from what you survive on your own.
So relying too much on others for emotional support can actually hinder building strength.
Potentially, yes. While support is vital sometimes, the source suggests over-reliance can prevent you from discovering your own capacity to cope, to find solutions within. Nobody feels your specific struggle like you do.
Right.
And most of your growth will come from the moments when you feel like breaking down but don't. From the times when you want to quit but choose to move forward anyway.
Those are the crucible moments.
Exactly. Where character is forged, they show you your weaknesses, sure, but they also give you the chance to build something stronger right there. So listener, think about it. When did you last sit with something really difficult, internally, and choose to find the way through yourself before immediately reaching out?
How does that process, confronting discomfort instead of distracting, reveal those bad habits, weak thinking, emotional laziness the source mentions?
It forces an honest look, doesn't it?
Yeah, no escaping it.
The source says, not everything needs to be shared. Not every breakdown needs an audience. Some pain is there to show you something about yourself that you would have never seen otherwise.
So it's a shift from seeking sympathy to choosing strength, using pain as fuel.
That seems to be the idea, productive struggle.
And what's fascinating is how this independent struggle builds that quiet strength that can't be faked.
Right, it's not performed strength.
No, it's earned in those moments when you keep going, even when you want to quit and nobody's watching or cheering. It's deeply internal. The source suggests asking yourself, what would the stronger version of me do right now? That internal dialogue builds resilience.
That's a powerful question.
And when you come through it, when you've handled it in silence, you realize you didn't need applause, you didn't need attention, you just needed to believe in your ability to keep going.
Wow. And all of that silent work, that internal
Mhm.
strengthening, it all leads somewhere tangible, right?
Absolutely. It leads to results.
Mm.
Undeniable proof.
Yes, the proof. That's the ultimate communication. The source describes this mindset. Someone who no longer needs to convince anyone, not with words, not with explanations, not with constant
You
updates.
just are. You just do.
You work, you build, you stay consistent, and your life changes. Not because you announced it, but because you did it quietly, on your terms.
There's a real discipline that comes from that, isn't there? Doing the work without needing the spotlight.
And a deep confidence grows from knowing, truly knowing, you put in the effort day after day when no one was watching.
Unlike those who are maybe busy performing, wanting recognition before they've earned it.
Exactly. But the source reminds us, people don't remember your plans. They remember what you finish, what you build, what you follow through on. Effectiveness over impressiveness.
Imagine that peace of mind, listener.
Yeah.
Knowing your actions, your results, are your statement. Not needing to explain or justify. Just owing yourself the work.
That sounds like freedom.
And those results, they build respect organically, without you even trying to impress anyone, because results come from repetition, from structure, from doing the same things over and over again until you get better, until you get stronger, until your results can't be ignored anymore.
That quiet, consistent effort creates a transformation that's just obvious, even if people miss the whole process.
Yeah, it's not about showing off. It's about leveling up in silence and letting the results speak. It's demonstrated competence.
Which leads to a crucial question for self-reflection.
Are you investing in proof or just potential? Anyone can talk about potential, but only a few have the patience and the discipline to turn potential into proof.
Ooh, that's direct.
And the equation is simple. The less you talk, the more you do, and the more you do, the more you grow, and that growth becomes undeniable.
It's a whole transformation mindset, attitude, how you carry yourself.
People see it in your discipline, your quiet strength, your confidence, your purpose. And when those results finally land, that's the ultimate win. A quiet, profound transformation. No announcement needed.
Which brings us full circle to the ultimate achievement. Win big without announcing a single move.
That's not just strategy, is it?
No, the source says it's maturity, it's focus, it's understanding that real success doesn't need a stage. It doesn't need applause.
And we've all seen the opposite, right? The loudest one in the room is often the one doing the least.
Totally. They're burning energy on the performance, not the actual progress.
And remember that premature reward thing? Announcing the goal gives the brain a reward it didn't earn.
Undermining the actual work. Getting attention, which the source calls a poor substitute for discipline.
But when you win in silence,
The reward is internal first, deeply satisfying. You're not seeking applause, you're not asking for validation, you're locked in, you're chasing the standard you set for yourself. That's authentic power. Working from purpose, not pressure.
think about that, listener. How much better does an achievement feel when it was hard won, in silence, just for you, knowing every bit of effort was for your growth, not for an audience?
And that silent approach, it also protects you, doesn't it?
Absolutely. It protects your future. Because when people don't know what's coming, they can't interfere. They can't distract you with opinions.
Silence becomes your shield.
Exactly. While others are busy performing, you're building. It fosters self-reliance, internal accountability. You gain full control over your journey. Your decisions come from your own clarity, not crowd reactions. And you start to realize, really realize, that not everyone needs to be involved in your process. Not everyone deserves to know your next move. Not everyone can handle your growth.
That requires discernment. Who do you need to protect your growth from?
It's a key question. The source defines this kind of winner by their qualities.
Yeah.
Quiet, focused, humble, relentless.
It's not just the outcome.
No, it's the person you became to achieve it.
Yeah.
The transformation itself is already happening, quietly. You're not talking about it, you're living it.
So wrapping this all up,
Yeah.
what's the big takeaway from this deep dive into silence's strength for you, the listener?
Well, I think it boils down to a choice. A really powerful, liberating choice.
Keep talking about what you're going to do.
Or embrace the silence. Shut your mouth and just do it. We've seen the power of that quiet consistency, of internal validation over external noise, understanding that the best, most lasting work often happens unseen.
That discipline you build when no one's watching, that quiet confidence, that's the real prize, isn't it?
It truly is.
So what's the final thought you want to leave our listeners with?
Just remember, real success doesn't need to shout. It
Okay.
doesn't beg for attention, it shows up. Strong, undeniable, built to last. Your habits, those quiet, consistent actions, they will build your future. One day, one action at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And if you stick with it long enough, those same habits will carry you through challenges that used to feel impossible. You become someone who doesn't just talk about discipline, you embody it. You don't just post about change, you are the change.
Powerful.
So the only question left is, what remarkable things will you choose to build in silence?